Greetings, Warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. I am having a fine March so far. Monty, how about you?
Everything is good, Rodge. That's
Yeah,
nice to hear. Your March is a good start too.
it's just one day in here. So the World Cup is going on. We're actually recording a little earlier than usual. So we record in advance. So the World Cup of Saga is still going on right now. But our best luck to everybody participating, and hopefully by next episode we'll be able to share some details about that. But I'm sure by the time this comes out, people already know which team won. USA, Monty? I don't know. What do you think?
Is that where we start chanting and waving our flags?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So just in general, this episode, though, is going to be about Age of Chivalry and where you can purchase those sweet models. And Monty, you've suggested this more than once over the years, but it's a big job trying to gather all these sources. And what's finally made it happen this time is we have to thank Matthias and Flojo on the Discord for putting together a giant list of all the manufacturers, right?
100%. That was really appreciated. So, we give this little speech almost every show. If you're not a member of Saga Thursday, here's another reason to join. In the Saga Thursday Discord channel, in the Age of Chivalry, well, specifically the Age of Chivalry channel, this information has been pinned. So if you're painting while you listen to this and you wanted it printed out, or want to see the exhaustive list, you can find it pinned in the Age of Chivalry channel.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into that stuff, though, Monty, there's always a few housekeeping duties here.
Mm-hmm.
So first up, I want to talk about our friend of the show for March here for Saga Thursday, and that is our good friends over at Wargames Atlantic, Monty.
Nice.
Providing plastic sprues and 3D prints for how many years now? They've got a couple things in the fire here that may be of interest to Saga players. They have a fantasy guards and villagers set. So it's two separate sets. So obviously Age of Magic, those are great, but Crusading Pilgrims, there's always a need for more pilgrims for those Age of Crusades boards and generic levy type troops. So I think that could be of use in Age of Crusades and Chivalry for sure. And then there's a Kickstarter going on right now that Wargames Atlantic is affiliated with, Blood on the Sands. Monty, have you happened to see that or not?
I have not, but that sounds like that might be Gladiator.
Yeah, you
focused.
You are correct. So
yes,
as I took my screenshot a little earlier than today, but it's got a few days left as of this coming out, and yeah, it's a gladiatory combat game. And Wargames Atlantic, they're not like writing the rules as far as I can tell, but they are providing these sweet models. So there is a gladiator plastic kit associated with that. So Monty, we could hope Age of Caesars, Spartacus. What do you what are the chances?
One day.
Not impossible, I would say.
Yes, I agree.
So, but easily, even if it doesn't come out, you could probably proxy some kind of... People will be doing gladiator war bands, I'm sure, regardless, yes. I imagine. So head on over there, check them out. You will get a good deal. And to the Saga Thursday lifeguards and warlords, they're offering the Jan Siska. I believe that's who it is here for the Hussite Rebellion, Monty. Is that Jan Siska?
That
testing
sounds
your
right.
memory here.
Amazing.
Okay, so it's a pretty sweet little kit here of the man himself, and he comes with a few different options, including the I call these like broom cannons. They're like a big stick with like a little cannon on the end.
Yep.
I don't know what the heck those are probably called, but you can give him one of those. So I don't know what the rules are for this fella. I'm sure he's in the Age of Chivalry book, but I haven't looked at the rules to see if you could use that hand cannon legally. But yeah, I'm sure you could use it anyways, just for fun. So thank you to Wargames Atlantic. And if you're interested in that, you can get on that before the end of the month, March here. And Rodge Originals, Monty, I'm continuing to work on some shields here. So last month was the Dark Age stuff. This one, we're going kind of Celtic, I would say. So these are meant for my Irish boys. And, you know, taking a look at the kind of shield decal sets for Irish and stuff. There's a mix of like the Triskells and spirals, and you know, then just kind of more generic designs. But you know, since I'm making these myself, I'm just doing all Triskells and spiral. I'm doing all the cool design. So this is 20 shields with various Triskells, spirals, circles, curved designs on them, and those will be available to the Saga Thursday Hearth Guards. And if you do miss out on March, they will be available on my mini factory. You can snag them that way, but it's going to cost you a bit more. Get in early, Monty. Yeah. Get in early.
I saw them this afternoon, and they look awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for those. Can't wait to print those out. Start gluing them to my boys. And just again, these shields are meant to be printed on little racks, so you can paint them separately and then glue them onto the model. So put a little extra effort into that aspect of it. So yeah, hopefully folks are enjoying these. If you have printed any out, definitely take some pictures, send them to me. I'm curious what you think.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble painting them. I'm just curious what the average, how the average Joe finds it. Monty, I got to send some of these to you, I think.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, but I've been doing some shields for my night goblins, which have very small raised platforms.
Yeah, Warhammer.
Yeah,
style, they do that.
Like you got to find what works for you. But I'm surprised at how effective, like, because they're quite small shields. I'm surprised at how effective, like getting the base color and then doing a wash that kind of flows neatly. Not a wash, you could use a contrast that flows neatly into the lower level, and then you can work on the higher level and any tidy ups. It goes very smoothly. So I imagine looking at your shields, the size of those shields, those should be easier to paint and should look just really, really nice.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to get some of these over to you for something here over the course of the year.
Yeah.
We'll see what the official Monty review says, but yeah, you're right. Painting for the Warhammer stuff, you know, they use those shields pretty early, you know, starting in the 2000s, I would say. We kind of switched to those because they used to use decals and stuff, but yeah, hopefully, you know, I'd like to do quite a bit more. You know, the dream would be to cover every Saga faction. I don't know, maybe by 2030, maybe we'll have that done. But new books will keep coming out, so they'll just keep throwing me off. But I would like to do some chivalry stuff. I think that could be cool too.
Nice.
All right, on to our main topic here. So talking about the various miniature ranges for Age of Chivalry, I guess 2 at this point. Why don't we just talk a little bit? How's your chivalry been going, Monty? Have you been getting games in?
I have. I've been mostly doing a tabletop simulator, but I have to say, and I know I'm not the only or first person to say this. In my experience, just kind of jumping around, trying boards, kind of walking into random matchups, I think this age might be the most internally balanced book by Studio Tomahawk, and that's a high compliment because there are other books that are really good, and every match is interesting. And I don't know, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm almost done with like a project, so I can tear into my Age of Chivalry painting probably in the next couple weeks here.
Cool. Yeah, I've been getting some games in myself. One of them was against you, so I played the Spanish. You were the Scots. I've gotten some in-person games too, so I just had these parries. Yeah, I guess spoiler alert, that's our first manufacturer. Just the parry plastics. I had the French side of Agincourt, and then somehow I added a sprue of Levy archers to that. So I had 12 archers, 12 crossbows, and then 24 warriors, maybe 20 warriors. I had to kind of throw in some of the bowmen to get them up to specs. And then 12 Hearthguard figures. And so from that equipment range there, I've tried out quite a few factions in person. So I played the French against the English. So really like the French, but I just have all foot guys. So I think you definitely want some mounted guys. So I haven't gone back to the French, but I think they're pretty fun. I've played the Free Company. Again, just all foot. It feels like every army or warband that I play, like I would like to have a unit or two of mounted guys. But with the Free Company, I kind of got away with all foot sloggers. I thought that was fun. We actually had like a little get together weekend playing some games here.
Yep.
And so I got in a game with the Germans as well. That one I didn't jive so much with that one unexpectedly. I kept rolling like all rares, like half commons and half rares.
Oh,
and
wow.
The board actually, it only has two rare abilities, two abilities that can use a rare. I mean, they're both pretty good. So sounds like I'm complaining, but like, I just like it. I was just activating stuff with these rares. So I'm like, I wish I had some lions right now. That one didn't do so good. And then the Burgundians, that was a lot of fun. Kind of reminded me of the Castilians a little bit, just kind of raw activations and Saga and kind of moving around and shooting, not necessarily souping up your combats or anything. So I might just try to play like every. I'm going to keep it going, Monty. I'm going to try to play every faction at least once.
Nice.
And I think this age is good for that. I didn't feel too out of place using the same models for almost all of those.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. Very cool to try out the new boards. But all right, so Perry Plastics, Monty. But there's Perry Metals too.
Yes.
Have you looked into those?
I have. So it's been a little bit of time. My quick synopsis with Perry is that like they really like unless you have your heart set on something specific, Perry might be a good place for a generalist or someone who's just not sure what to do to start. Because with all of these plastic boxes for the age, and it is a lot of boxes, it's a fantastic dollar for value. There are so many options. You can, they've probably got you covered. If anything, the thing that might hold you back if you run out to try to go buy your Perrys right now is, at least in the US, I could say, it's hard to find them. They're out of stock from everywhere. Yeah. And I also heard, I know some local guys put in some orders directly at the UK, but I also heard that there might be just a little bit of a supply chain issue. So getting them might be an issue, but definitely they should be on your radar screen, just like as a good starting point. And to your point about the metals, if you go into the Perry site, you will see that a lot of their figures are sold in little batches. And this is kind of the coolest thing, because I remember years ago when I did a Perry a paint job, that they send the metals in little, almost look like a ring box, like it's a small black box, and you open the box and there's like cotton stuffing in there, and there's your present. Your present is some metal figures, and it's just kind of adorable because it's just like it's a very unique way to package and ship your miniatures, and all these little Perry boxes are just really cute, and the figures are nicely done. So Perry's is just such an easy place to just be like, if you were, kind of like me, where you're a little new to this history and you're a little thrifty, it's a superb place to start.
Yeah, I agree. Just the plastics that I have, like I really like the foot Hearthguard guys, the full plate head to toe, like a lot of them. Some of the more lightly armored guys, crossbows, some of them are good. A couple I kind of didn't like how they glued together, but overall, I don't think you can get any better for price and quantity if you can get your hands on them. So awesome. Let's move on to Claymore castings. And Monty, I guess you're kind of leading the charge on these.
Yeah. So Claymore castings, if you were like me, you have a preference for metal, just for whatever reason, um, Claymore castings are excellent, like really, really wonderful range of English and French figures. And I would say, I ordered from them. I believe, memory serves right, it's in Scotland, and the poses are very dynamic. You could sit there and kind of go through their website and just build out this metal army that has very few repeats, which is not so easy to do with metal figures, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
part of the benefit of plastics is you can get different poses and head swaps and arms and do all these things to bring your variety. Metal sometimes can suffer from monopose, but Claymore castings not at all. Their castings are excellent. Their variety is excellent. Really, really nice figures.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Have you used them for other ranges, or is your only experience kind of the 100 Years War stuff?
It's just the 100 Years War. I'd have to I'd have to dig back into the website, but yeah, just the 100 Years War.
Mhm. Okay, cool. Well, next one up here, Antediluvian Miniatures.
Yeah.
Monty.
So the funny thing is, with all my heart, I want to, and I think I eventually will, just do an order from these guys. Long before Age of Chivalry dropped, um, I have followed, like, blogs of some prominent painters from across the ocean, and gosh, I can't remember his name. There is a fellow. He paints just pretty much everything, and he was doing kind of just oddball stuff like dinosaurs and just all these odd jobs, but they just look so good. And when I followed it back, the maker of all those miniatures that he was doing was Antediluvian. And so they have a very eclectic range, and within their
Yeah,
eclectic
that's
range, right? They
having
have
trouble kind of finding the historicals.
I
Like that,
right,
they
you
have
do,
so
you
many
do.
different.
It is hard to find the historical, but boy, when you find them, their Scottish range is just so good. Just lovely sculpts and good casts. I really want to start Age of Chivalry with like paint one, play many, but step two is probably to dial up Antediluvian miniatures and get a Scottish warband straight from them.
Cool. Yeah. Don't mind seeing what you end up with here.
Yeah,
Maybe one of each, Monty.
right? Why
You can
not?
12 months in a year. We're a few down. We'll just do you can do 10 war bands by the end of the year, right? For
Well,
comparison purposes.
sure. I mean, why not? We'll just say yes.
All right. All right. Next one up, First Core Miniatures. Yeah, what do these guys got on offer?
Yeah. So, first core, I'll do a small shout out. Like, I mean, I know there are people who are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we know this already," but I kind of saw them, but hadn't ordered them from for a while, and I think it's easy for them to either not make it quite up on your radar screen or kind of miss them, but I think that's a mistake. I think it's a good place to look whenever you need historical miniatures because they have a lot of ranges. And while it can be spendy to order from the UK, I believe the US miniature company Scale Creep Miniatures carries First Core, like loads of First Core, and they were the ones that I used for painting my picks, who are one of my favorite war bands. Just
Mm-hmm.
lots of quality, lots of character, lots of poses. So First Corps has a lot of medieval stuff. They seem to specialize on like the Hussites, and
Nice.
right. I'd also say that one nice thing they do, because it's hard to like cast everything. They have some nice terrain and objectives too that are worth a look. So whether you're in the U.S. or abroad, I think First Corps is worth a look.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely for the Hussites. A lot of this stuff is really kind of 100 Year War, like French English focused. It seems like
Yep.
even kind of the newer 3D prints aren't necessarily getting into that stuff. So cool. Yeah. If you're interested in Hussites, check it out for sure.
Yep.
All right. This next one, Monty, I will say this maybe like a month ago. I was searching for this company. I didn't know. I had seen their models and like I type in Claymore castings, Antediluvian, First Core, but it wasn't quite the same, but these Steel Fist miniatures, these things are awesome. These are basically Imperial, Warhammer, Empire Knights, like the latest. This is at the top of the range, as late as you can go. Maybe, probably too late compared to what a lot of other folks are using, but the super heavy armored, the range is the land Schnecks, I think.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. You're correct.
Arquebusiers, crossbows, but then these super crazily heavily armored full plate knights. They just look awesome. I might pick up some of these myself because they're so cool looking, and it is like Empire soldiers or something. You could even probably like mix in like old Warhammer plastic knights with these guys, and
right.
it'd probably look pretty good. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Well, dude, I am just right there, shoulder to shoulder on your experience. So I didn't even know who they were. I think at some point when I was doing like some search for Age of Chivalry, I backed into someone who was either a sculptor or painter for Steel Fist, but it was his blog. And I was working hard, like I saw like his work, and I'm like, now where the hell is he getting his figures from?
Yeah.
And when I found my way there, I'm like, now how has this gem not been on my radar screen? Because the models look just exquisite, like the highest quality, and like you said, especially like their mounted knights, they are the biggest feathers, the flounciest, the most like if you just want over the top presentation, like just don't worry too much about historical or it being a little late. Just go to Steelfish Miniatures and take a look at their mounted knights. They are amazing.
Yeah.
I'd also pitch, I had this thought, and I think it's still a good thought. So I was going through their ranges. They've got a lot of samurai stuff, which doesn't quite fit for Saga yet. But I was digging through, and I found they had, they called it the, come on, Monty. The German Wars, the Surf Wars in Germany. I'm getting it I'm close, but I'm not quite nailing it.
Okay.
So when I saw the civilians with like, wheat flails and all these odd equipment types,
yeah.
I thought these guys would work for Hussites too. They would just be lovely.
Sure, yeah, even potentially the Flemish or something like that.
Yes.
If they're all pikes over there or not, but you can imagine the townsfolk joining the fight,
right,
with their various implements. So cool.
Oh,
yeah.
One more thing. Sorry, I didn't want to overlook this one because it's like I think to some people this will provide some value. So interestingly enough, they also do something they call dollies, which are basically they have created bodies. I think it mostly is bodies. And then you go to your periplastics, and then you can, like, if you're looking at your periplastics, you're like, I really wish my guy had X kind of body. And then you go look at the metal bodies from Steel Fist Miniatures, and then you can take your periplastic arms and heads and kit bash them. And they do also sell like a variety of heads so that you can do head swaps and variety. So if you need to mix things up, Steel Fist Miniatures apparently is made, like the dollies, as they call them, are made to be mixed with the periplastics.
Wow. Okay. I had seen those on the site, but I didn't quite, look like kind of gluing metal guys together that way.
Yeah,
it's kind of like laborious, but plastics, just getting the arms to stick and stay on, and the heads and stuff. Cool. Wow. No, I'm definitely kind of doubly interested in that because the range looked like a little smaller, but it was like a lot of those guys.
Yep.
And so I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on with these guys, but yeah, I've got some extra sprues lying around, so I'll have to go back and look. Yeah, I'm definitely considering Steel Fist as one of my go-tos for chivalry here. They're just so good. Yeah, I like the vibe. All right, moving on to somebody where we already took a look at today, Wargames Atlantic.
Yep.
And so they do have their Age of Chivalry range, which ironically is more aligned with the Age of Crusades as far as Saga goes. And I think they just had, last month. So we're in March. I think this is in January. I think they have the foot men-at-arms come out. Not sure if they're, because they were going to do 4 different boxes.
Yeah,
I think they might be
so.
through all 4 of them by now. Should have looked that up. Apologies, but so this was on the list, Monty. As far as the chivalry stuff specifically, I mean, obviously there's a range there. From the high. We just looked at basically the end of the range with Steel Fist, and then when does it start? Question mark, maybe. Is this? I don't know. Have you looked at the Wargames Atlantic specifically with chivalry in mind?
I have, and I mean, it is early-ish, but gosh, dude, I'm just not really. I mean, if there's anywhere that I might be a button counter, I'm just not really a button counter in Age of Chivalry.
Sure.
Right. They're giving you, like, the range they're giving is Foot Knights 1150 through 1320. And then you go to the Foot Sergeants. They label it Baron's War. They're 1100 through 1320. Also, since we're on the subject, they have Peasant Levy. And the cool thing about Peasant Levy is peasants look like peasants. So to that point we just talked about, if you're painting Flemish, if you're painting Hussites, and I think I've also heard people, my memory tells me that in our Discord channel, people have been kit bashing these bodies with maybe some Perry arms to get a different look for like some of the more ragged and poorly armed troops. And so peasants are peasants. These guys look like they'd work great for Hussites or Flemish.
Yeah, and I agree. So just looking here, it looks like they have the mounted knights yet to go out of the 3. They got the Foot Knights, Foot Sergeants, Peasant Levy. So yeah, I agree. I think the Foot Sergeants and Peasant Levy definitely could be your levy or your warriors. Maybe the Hearthguard with chainmail, don't quite look right because they do kind of basically have chainmail there. So for the Hearthguard pick, maybe it's not a line, but if you can get the bows or crossbows or their little halberds or upgrade them to pikes yourself, I think the Foot Sergeants and any of the cloth stuff, I can't imagine the cloth shirt and breeches design change much over that time period. Somebody will chime in and point out that it probably did, but to our untrained eye, kind of rabbly poor guys are what the warriors are. But interesting thing with chivalry, the warriors can also be super heavily armed and armored dudes too. So
that's true.
It's just kind of down to your personal preference. So if you want a little more rabbly warriors and levy, I think the Wargames Atlantic boxes are a good source, and they're in stock too, so that's a good thing.
That's a big plus.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up we have probably what is going to be a similar assessment, but maybe you can tell me more about Victrix. So we see their Teutonic Knights on their front page right here. So I would say, the Teutonic Knights went in very deep into the chivalry time period as, I think Grunwald or whatever, 1410. So, the Teutonic Knights, I think those would probably work for Germans. What do you think, Monty?
Yeah, I'd give that a thumbs up. No problem. And it is very similar, though. Like if you look at their medieval Foot Knights, they're all chainmail clad.
Okay.
But coming soon. Oh, they got it. I'm sorry. This is actually coming soon. Their Foot Knights will be chainmail clad. Their medieval sergeants look just fine for warriors in the Age of Chivalry, and they've got crossbow archers coming. I thought somewhere I'd seen they might have some later mounted knights. Maybe those are still a work in progress. And I would toss this out there for consideration. If you're someone like me who looks at all the heraldry and the heraldry going on, like, the horses, good grief, not the surcoat. Oh, gosh, dude. I'm in deep. So if you want the barding and shield transfers, they have loads of options. And if I remember right, Victrix bought Little Big Man Studios. And so now, like, they're talking about they're going to be able to scale up and offer even more shield transfers. So there's a lot of there's a lot of options in here. If you don't want to sit there and paint this stuff by hand, why, Victrix, if nothing else, certainly you should take a look at all the transfers they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely cool. A lot of real estate on those Teutonic barding there to do
right?
whatever you're gonna do. Look at it, yeah, they kind of are more chainmail clad, but you just say, well, these are early Germans, for the period. So whatever. Okay, cool. Next up we have old friends. Looks like I got the order mixed up here. Monty, we're jumping to Medbury right now.
Nice.
All right, we're skipping. We'll hit up V&V in a second here.
Yeah.
So Medbury, we know them from 3D Prints. They've been a friend of the show in years past. But he's also doing actual metal, basically metal versions of all, at least his historical stuff, his fantasy. But do you know what factions he might have for chivalry purposes, Monty?
So I know they have some Scottish, but they also have other stuff that is more broadly used. I was, in fact, just because, ordering from, would it be Australia?
He is based in Australia.
Okay, so ordering the metal figures from Australia can be a little pricey. I found someone on eBay who carries a lot of his stuff, and it's a combo. The eBay seller had a combo of 3D print Medbury, but also, me, because when I go to sell my stuff, metal holds up better for shipping.
Yep.
I always kind of cheat in the direction of metal. So they had a good offering of metals too. Very nice figures.
Cool. Yeah, I think he's got the Scots covered, and then just kind of more generic English and French.
Yep.
And kind of all-purpose troops. And yeah, his stuff's pretty spot on. He's got the scale kind of perfect, where Reconquer stuff's great. It's more kind of realistic scale. Then you have your metals, which are kind of chonkier. I think Medbury kind of bridges the gap between those and kind of has like kind of perfect proportions in my book on his model. So they are quite sweet. All right. Okay, so here we go. V&V Miniatures. And I've used their Vikings and just kind of random stuff that they've produced in the past. So I guess I wasn't up to date on the chivalry stuff. Do you know what's going on there for chivalry?
I was taking a quick look, and what do I have here?
Okay. Looks like just a couple English guys, some French, some crossbowmen. Definitely enough to do a whole warband, honestly.
Yeah.
Of kind of English. So okay, cool. And I know he sells them in metals too. Some of these as well.
Interesting. Yeah, is the detail in these is always exquisite. So very, very high quality, very nice figures.
Definitely. Okay. Last up, Monty, wasn't on your list, but I'll just throw mention of Gripping Beast and Front Rank Miniatures. So Zach has these. He bought a whole boatload of them, and I think that these are really good. I don't know if GB's handling the casting or if they got fresh molds or something, but sometimes I help out Zach assemble some stuff. So I actually been gluing these guys together, and they're pretty clean. Yeah, the mold line's minimal, and the detail and everything on them is really good. And so they've got, for sure, that kind of the English 100 Years' War stuff covered once again. So, definitely check out Front Rank Miniatures over at Gripping Beast. They're pretty sweet. Yeah, definitely better than a lot of some of their kind of older sculpts. Right. At this point, Monty, we're transitioning here to 3D prints, kind of. So already mentioned Reconquer Designs. So as we know, they've been around for a while. Friend of the show. They've been doing medieval type Spanish. So their kind of traditional sculpts are a little early, but starting, I think last September, October, he started getting in properly to the kind of 100 Years' War stuff and whatever those wars down in Castile, whenever they were taking a break in France, they would seem to head down to Spain and fight it out on each side of whatever the royal family or whatever the heck was going on down there. So he's done specifically kind of Spanish knights for that, but obviously I think he has done some of the English because they were part of those wars, like I said. So quite awesome figures. If I was doing Castilians, those would be what I would go for. So check those out. After that, friend of the show last month, we've got Black Knight Miniatures. So we looked at their Germans, and I think basically each month he's going to be kicking out some more stuff for that, and those are just badass knights. So check those out. One that I don't know if I've ever really mentioned these guys on the show, and I kind of been seeing them, but I didn't really look at them too closely. About Miniatures, a Zipion. I don't know, Bonnie, what do you think of that pronunciation?
I'm going to say yes. I am not familiar with it, but I'm really curious.
Yeah, so some of it is a little maybe older for the period, again, Crusades, but I think they're starting to get into all these 3D makers, Monty, all of a sudden within the last 4 to 6 months started getting into late period medieval stuff, and Miniatures Zipion is one of them as well. He's got a couple fantasy lines and stuff as well, but yeah, everything I've seen of these are pretty cool. We'll say that these are kind of pretty fantastical, I would say. So kind of similar to Steel Fist, where they've got big giant plumes on their helmets and stuff, and I don't know, it kind of look like they have Crusader like bucket helmets. I don't know the names for any of these, but on the full plate armor, I don't know if they all go together, but they look cool, and that's all that I need to know.
Yep.
The last one that kind of just I saw something randomly the other day was Stira War, and they have just recently started getting into the kind of late medieval period as well. I think every one of those has a Tribes or a Patreon where you can sign up and get the latest stuff, and Stira War is no different. And I see they have some kind of generic knights and men-at-arms and stuff. So between all of those, if you do have a printer, you can probably cover yourself no matter what you're looking to do. So that I think is going to cover it. Monty, any that we haven't thought of?
I think you've got it. I think these cover it, but if we miss something, we would love for people to post things we missed below. Like, help us rope in everything.
Yeah, so 100%, Monty. If we didn't cover it here, please post a link in the comments to whoever is out there. I know there's just kind of tons of little hole-in-the-wall online miniature manufacturers, especially for historicals and stuff. So I got to imagine that there's quite a few that we've missed here. And if anybody has those, comment below. And if you have used one of the manufacturers we're talking about, let us know in the comments how you like the models. We haven't really dug into scale at all. We know the Victrix boys like to be big. Some of the historicals can be a little small or chonky. So if anybody wants to chime in on that stuff or what they've picked up, let us know. I'd be curious. Yeah, if everybody can post what they've picked up for Chivalry. It's just going to be Perry. It's Perry's all the way down, right? Maybe Bonnie. But maybe not. Looking forward to the 3D printer space. Looks like they're continuing to plug away at this, and then traditional manufacturers as well. Hopefully, we are the boon of Chivalry has replenished those coffers, and we'll get some new stuff. But all right,
that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I just want to say thank you to. Here we go. Sean, Patrick, Mitchell, Scott, Frank, Britt, DJ, Robin, Damien, and the rest of the Saga Thursday patrons. Wouldn't be making the effort to do these every single month in 2025. So thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate it. And Monty, you mentioned it before, but we got most of this list from the Discord. So if you were a Discord member, you would have had this in your grubby little hands 2 months ago. But a lot of good chat is going on right now over there. A lot of chivalry talk, right, Monty?
Yeah, you can get your questions answered. There are people, if you want to go down the button counting route, I mean, there are people who will help you. And you'll also find pinned in there, like what combos help get you close to the look you're looking for a particular era.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, coming up in the next weeks here, so later in the month, we do have Adepticon. Monty, I got a special treat coming up. We got Stephen Holdeman's back. He is going to do the Skraelings review with us. So those guys are going to be in at Adepticon this year. So if you're playing in the Age of Darkness, you could very well run into them. So make sure to check out that video. And then, Monty, we have recorded the last battle in the Fimbulwinter campaign against Zach. So that is the 5th battle report in the series. And happy to report it came down to the last dice rolls on the last turn of the game, decided the entire campaign. So it couldn't have worked out any better. And keep your eyes peeled for that. I do want to get it out as a priority this month. So happy to wrap that up. And yeah, check it out. Really excited. It was a good battle. Zach had 7 points and I only had 5. Okay, so it's going to be a good fight in my hands just based off that. So make sure to check it out. And I think that is going to be it for this one. Once again, folks, comment below if we missed some good manufacturers for Age of Chivalry stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff out there we missed. So check that out below. And I think that'll be it for this one, Monty. What do you say?
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Rodge.
All right. Yeah. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye. Saga! If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.